I know thy works, and tribulation, and poverty, but thou art rich. Welcome to the Black Excellence and Abundance Channel. White Southerners who settled the Hawaiian Islands during the 19th century had a song about the native people which goes like this. You many call them Hawaiian, but they look like N-words to me. From King Kamehameha to Queen Lili'uokalani, each Hawaiian ruler was very dark-skinned with Negroid features. It is one of the incredible ironies of history that few Americans are aware of, that the original Hawaiians were black peoples, and their royal family was one of the greatest of the 19th century, by LeGrand H. Glegg II. Did you know that the original natives of Hawaii possessed skin, hair, and way of life that showed they were of African descent? Perhaps America's best-kept secret, the first settlers in Hawaii were African and/or African descent who mixed with Native Americans after discovering and settling in the land. However, the history of the ancestry of Native Hawaiians has largely been ignored by scholars to provide clear evidence, while sidelining the little findings by many historians and anthropology scholars. The first Hawaiians and their royal families were dark-skinned with distinct African features who ruled and lived in an African-style community. That was until the forceful invasion by whites in America who ended the royal lineage after destroying the reign of Queen Lili'uokalani. She is known to be the last black royal of Hawaii and was the first and only woman to rule her people between 1891 and 1893. This information was presented in our previous video called Hawaii's Original Black Kings, Queens, and People. Be that as it may, we are compelled to repeat this information in this presentation because we cannot say it enough. The original kings, queens, and monarchs of Hawaii were black people. Yes, black kings and queens here in America. We want to make it perfectly clear that we are not speaking about the current inhabitants of Hawaii. We are speaking about the original aboriginal Hawaiians. They were black people, kings, queens, princes, and princesses, black monarchies, black royalty here in America. Few societies on Earth have undergone the immense and fast-moving changes brought on by foreign discovery during the 18th and 19th centuries than Hawaii. In ancient times, this self-sufficient and battle-ready civilization was estimated to have been over 1 million people strong, spread out on 6 major islands. Hawaii has over 130 islands. King Kamehameha the Great battled for an estimated 40 years to bring the islands under his rule. His success was due to his brutal determination and intelligence, knowing when to make alliances and when to attack. Supported by his people and young wife, Ka'aumanu, he continued his quest to unite all the islands until the job was finished. He became the first monarch of the Kingdom of Hawaii. His 8 family members ruled through 100 years of strife and change until the kingdom was overthrown by American businessmen in 1893 and annexed or overtaken by the United States in 1898.
To all those who question if the monarchs of Hawaii were black, I ask you, is Kelly Curtis black? Is the Dolphins' new head coach, Mike McDonald, is he black? And what about the late, great Adam Clayton Powell Jr.? Was he black? The bottom line is, you can't go by the color of a person's skin to determine if they are so-called black. King Kamehameha I, from the spring of 1795 to May 8th, 1819. Also known as Kamehameha the Great, was the founder and first ruler of the Kingdom of Hawaii. The state of Hawaii gave a statue of him to the National Statuary Hall Collection in Washington, D.C., as one of two statues it is entitled to install there. I don't know, folks. He looks black to me. King Kamehameha II, his son, was the heir to the throne, and he was on the throne from May 20th, 1819 to July 14th, 1824. His birth name was Lili'uokalani. King Kamehameha III from June 6, 1825 to December 15, 1854. His birth name, Kibi. King Kamehameha IV, January 11, 1855 to November 30th, 1863. He reigned as the fourth monarch of Hawaii. And King Kamehameha V, November 30th, 1863, December 11th, 1872. His motto was immovable, firm, steadfast, or determined. He worked diligently for his people and kingdom and was described as the last great traditional chief. The sixth king who held the crown was King Lunalilo from January 8th, 1873 to February 3rd, 1874. He had a very short reign of just over a year before his passing. The seventh king was King Kalakila, February 12, 1874 to January 20th, 1891. He was sometimes known as the Merry Monarch and was the last king, penultimate monarch of the Kingdom of Hawaii. And he was also the brother of the Queen Lili'uokalani. And the last monarch to hold that crown was Queen Lili'uokalani. She held it from January 29, 1891 to January 17, 1893. She was the last queen of the royal family to hold that position. And she was also a composer. She wrote many, many songs, and she was loved by all. A beautiful queen mother. We get a lot of people that come on our channel and talk about that the original Hawaiians were not black, that they were really Asian and they weren't black. And my question is, if that's the case, where are the original Asian statues of the original kings and queens? We're presenting proof who the original kings and queens, the original kingdoms of Hawaii, were obviously black people. You know, I find it very interesting. If you took these same people out of their royal garb, take them out of their royal surroundings and their clothing and what have you, and if they committed crimes, oh, they'd be black then. I guarantee you, they all would be black then. And if you can briefly take a look at this table, the comparative number of the natives and the other populations from the other countries like China and Japan and Portugal, etc., you'll notice that the natives had a very high number during the 1870s through the 1900s. So we're not talking about the people who inhabited the land now. We're talking about the originals, the aboriginal Hawaiians, black people. And the other thing that we have to consider is that let's consider the education that we have been given. You know, the so-called history that we've been getting. These are the same people that's trying to give us history lesson on who we are. No, thank you. We know who we are. We know that pretty much everything that we've been taught have been lies, have been the truth, have been suppressed. No. We know who we are. We do not need your help. You can miss me with that crap. And when you come in here disputing me, understand this. You're not disputing me. You're disputing the history. You're disputing the archaeologists. You're disputing the scholars and the people who've done the research. We're just presenting the evidence. Don't argue with me. Argue with the statue of this queen because she speaks for herself. People like Maxine Martz, who wrote the Hawaiian Monarchies, the Romantic Years, and people like Dr. John Henry Clark and Dr. Joseph Ben Yakamin, and people like Dr. Ivan Van Sertimer, and others who have written and studied history for years and years and years. Scholarly people. That's who you're disputing. And we've gotten these comments of people trolling saying, oh, you claim everyone that was great was black. All of the great people from Africa, they were black. They wasn't black. And that is not true. We do not claim everyone is black. But everyone we present, they are black. And you can best believe that. Now, we do want to point out that there were many other kings and queens in the Hawaiian Islands. The Hawaiian Islands make up over 130 islands, and the ones that we show here are the most prominent. They're the ones that unified the islands in as much as possible. The Black Excellence and Abundance Channel, where Black history is every day.
Thanks for watching. Please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And remember, thou art